Hi. I had to talk about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the possibility of it, at least, since it will be the most wonderful thing in my lifetime is the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Over 63 million babies have been slaughtered in their mother's womb since that was passed in 1968, I think it was. And back when it was passed, they didn't have ultrasounds like we do today, and they were misled because God says that we were created in our mother's womb. We were knit together in our mother's womb. So it was a horrible, horrible, horrible tragedy that it was ever allowed. In fact, even if it is overturned by the Supreme Court, which we must earnestly be praying that it is, women, it'll still go back to the states, and I don't get that, because it is murder. Why shouldn't the Supreme Court just say it's murder, it's forbidden, and that's it? What about the back alley abortions? Well, there were far fewer back alley abortion deaths, far, far fewer than the 64 million unborn babies that are slaughtered in the womb. And as long as it's available, women will think it's okay. But most of them suffer greatly after having abortion, mentally, physically, spiritually. It harms them in every way possible. It murders a baby, and it harms greatly the mothers and even the fathers of many of the fathers who wanted those babies. So there's no reason that abortion should be legal. If women need to be taught abstinence. Don't have sex until marriage, and then have sex and have children. Bear them and raise them with your husband that you love for life. That's God's plan for us. Abortion wasn't in his plan. It's demonic, satanic. It's in the Old Testament, babies were given in sacrifice to idols. And that's what's happening today, the idol of convenience. And it's wrong, it's evil, it needs to be stopped. It was the Republicans who fought against slavery and the Democrats who fought for slavery. And today, it's the Democrats fighting for abortion, even up until after birth, and the Republicans' platform is against abortion. They aren't the same. The parties are not the same. This is a pivotal issue in our country. President Trump, in a debate with Hillary before the election, said clearly, I watched the tape, that he will only elect pro-life Supreme Court justices. He made that promise, and he made it, and he kept that promise. 3 pro-life justices are on the Supreme Court now because of President Trump. And I haven't liked all the decisions that Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett have made, but because they stand for this, that covers a multitude of sins in my mind. Because this holocaust of unborn babies is the worst thing in our generations, women. Generations of people are being murdered in the womb, and it has to stop. As long as it is legal, women will think it's okay. If it's completely banned, they'll know that it's wrong, that it's murder. It'll prevent many, many, many women from aborting their babies. So just pray that abortion ends in our country. And one other thing I want to talk about is I tweeted the morning after that broke that not one female preacher, I bet, wrote about it. So I checked out Beth Moore's Twitter feed. She hated Trump. She despised him, spoke evil against him, called him a misogynist, but you know what? Know what she spoke about the next morning? Her blueberries. Nothing about the most incredible thing that may happen in our generation. What about Priscilla Schreier? Did she talk about it? No. She talked about raving about the movie This Is Us, which I think was an immoral, godless show. I'd heard it was raved about by Christians, so I turned it on. The first episode, right away you see a man's butt and you see 3 in bed together. It's like, no. I cannot watch a show, a series that has this kind of debauchery in it. No, thank you. We're supposed to dwell on the good and the lovely. I just read that today in Philippians 4:8. This is what godly women should be encouraging their followers to be doing, is dwelling on the good and the lovely, and celebrating that the life of the unborn may be protected once again. Not celebrating a debauchery show. Not when I went to a bunch of the female preachers who huge followings with the blue star on Twitter. Not one of them spoke about it and celebrated it. It shows a lot about their false teaching and who they are. They care more about the not offending women and the sales of their books and their the money they make from their conferences. They're making merchandise out of women, as 2 Peter 2:3 says, with their feigned teaching. And they teach women to listen to God. And I hear women say to me, well, God called me to be a teacher, so that's what I'm doing. He spoke to me personally. While she trots off to teach all of these children who are not her own and leaves her own children in daycare. No, God does not ever speak to us something opposite of what he says in his word. Everything that we need for life and godliness are in his word. We don't need to pervert it to say that women can stand up on stages and in auditoriums and in churches preaching behind a pulpit. This ministry was given to men. The reason women are not to preach and teach and be an authority over men is because because Eve was deceived, it says. Does that mean all women are easily deceived? Yes. Eve was sinful and Eve was perfect and sinless, and she was deceived. So that means us who are fallen in a fallen world and sinful cannot easily be deceived. Of course we can. We're more emotional, we're nurturers, more sensitive, and that's all good. It's to be used for raising children, caring for our husbands and our homes. But it's not to be used to be teaching women theology, biblical doctrines other than biblical womanhood. We have so many fabulous male preachers of the word. Go on my Instagram stories and look under sermons and start learning from those incredible men. Then go to my favorite books and start reading books from women who teach biblical womanhood. This is how it's supposed to be biblically. I can't see where women are supposed to be standing up preaching the word. Or standing behind a pulpit. I just don't see that. I would feel so uncomfortable there. I like just teaching women exactly what God has commanded that I teach them, biblical womanhood. So, and my husband will correct me if he thinks I'm doing something wrong, and because I can be deceived too, but the more that we grow in the wisdom and the knowledge of the word, women, the less easily deceived we will be, and the more easily we will be able to discern false teachers and false doctrine and tell others to mark and avoid them. So be in your word daily. Listen to godly male preachers. Learn from godly women, biblical womanhood. It's God's perfect will, and it's perfect. And celebrate that the life of the unborn may be protected. Pray diligently over this. Pray that the left's wicked agenda will be thwarted, that God will thwart it at every corner, that needs to be thwarted. It's from Satan. It's satanic. The love of abortion, the celebrating of it, satanic. That's all I can say about it. Anyway, women, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Keep trusting in him. We need to talk about these things, but then we have to get busy doing what the Lord's called us to do. And he wants us to rejoice in him daily. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.